The fact of the matter is, whether you've been in network marketing for years or just a few days, your family and friends have seen your opportunity and your phone is, as we call it, burnt. If you're anything like me, that's a scary thought. So the big question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, who love the network marketing profession, who no longer want to be that guy, and are tired of convincing people during uncomfortable let's get coffee meetings where they say, what's this all about? How do we market in a way that aligns us with our dream clients and expands our network of upfront and transparent professionals, allowing us to get our time back, our families back, and gain a real passive asset? People like us who value impact over income, we deserve to see our visions once and for all. Join me in this podcast where we'll uncover just how to do that. My name is Eric Sablon. Welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. What is going on, everybody? Eric Sablon here with Burnt Phone Marketing. And today I have got a phenomenal interview for you guys. Like, totally listen to it, totally get into what we're talking about. It's going to literally give you some epic value. This individual is one of my mentors, one of my friends. She is a media professional. She's been a media professional for over 2 decades. She's a former professor of a media school, one of the top media schools in the US. She's helped broadcast in 3 Olympic Games. She's been on over 100 podcasts, and her signature sauce is endorsed by John Lee Dumas, host of Entrepreneurs on Fire, as one of the best and world's best at podcast guesting. So please welcome my friend, a mentor of mine, heart of gold, Miss Christine McAlister. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your heart. I'm so happy to be here with you.
I'm so excited. I'm just going to kind of jump right in, like rapid fire. So I rattled off a few accolades that you have in the introduction, but in your own words, tell us a little about who you are and what drives you.
Ooh, that gave me chills. So I would say what drives me is impact. I would say like storytelling is a theme throughout my life. I was an avid reader and then, got into broadcasting, television, documentary film, and then online marketing agency, and then business coach, and now media coach. And I think the common theme there is like really, really good stories, and everybody has one. So it's like helping the people with important messages to share, important missions to share, instead of like the loudest people in the room, because that's like a lot of who gets the attention, right? And so, I won't see myself as a little bit of a disruptor, a change maker. I want to change the way that that's done, because I personally believe that we all are given like our own unique set of passions and skills. And if you want to even think about like the nonprofits or charities that we're drawn to, I believe that if we can elevate people with like what I believe to be wonderful values, right, then all of those causes are going to be served, because we all have our each own little different thing, right? And so my drive is to help more people elevate, and so that we can change the way that things are done.
Yes, I love that answer. And I read a book every single day, and it says service to many leads to greatness. And I just, when you pour into people, when I absorbed your content, the things that you've done, like, you can tell that it's all about service and all about structure and things that help people. As long as they're willing to kind of impact and do the work, they'll be able to receive the impact that you're delivering. So I love what you said about impacting a lot of people. I love what you said about storytelling and how important it is to tell your own story, because there's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of people in the audience that are like, I don't have a story, but you do. Like, your dream, struggle, victory is there. You just need to understand how to tell it better. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. And own it, right? I mean, if you are an entrepreneur who's wanting to market yourself, which you probably are if you're listening to this podcast, right? Then we all know that like the one thing that nobody else ever has is your story. And the reason that people hire us is because of our stories, because they resonate with us, because of our energy, whatever. And how do they get to know that? They get to know that by listening to you, right? They get to know that by hearing your voice, by seeing your face, by seeing the way that you show up. And in my opinion, obviously, there's no more powerful way to do it than in an interview like this one.
And you changed my total mindset on interviews and how to do them and how to run them. Like if you listen to a couple of podcasts at the beginning, it was a little bit different, but getting you and going through some of your training and some of the things that you've done has changed the way that I do podcasts, which I'm going to tee this one up for everybody. So you have a niche that so many can, from the newest marketer to the seasoned veteran, can take advantage of. Why is podcast guesting one of the most powerful client acquisition strategies available today?
Well, it's unique in that it is really a fairly distraction-free, long form piece of content that people get to know you through. That's not the case where you're competing against the algorithm and everyone else who's posting and ads on any of our social media platforms, right? It's not the case I would include YouTube in that. There's so many distractions. And when you go on a podcast, you are essentially being endorsed by the host who has you on. So, if you listen to this show, you love Eric. You don't know who the heck I am, but you love Eric because he's awesome. And so Eric is transferring the trust that you have in him to me by having had me on, right? So you're listening, not because you have any idea who Christine is or because you care, but because you love Eric, right? And so when you apply that to yourself, so Eric goes on another show, that audience loves the host. And so Eric gets to have the trust of the audience because the host said, hey, this is a person worth listening to. And then people get to learn from you, get a sense of you, and like self-select into your world all in one fell swoop, right? Not like 12 freaking pieces of content that I can't with, because I don't live my life on social media. And it's leveraged and it's organic and it's algorithm proof and it's going to live online as long as the internet lives. So, what else can you say is like that?
Nothing. And wow, so the way that you think about it, it's like we're inviting our audience into like our own little, like our den, our place where we're going to actually talk to people. And they're literally a fly on the wall, understanding they want to be there because, they're comfortable with the den that they've been to because I invited them to the den. But the way that you say it, like distraction free is huge because like you said, everything is happening like boom, 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 add this, add that, like YouTube card coming up, all this stuff coming up. And inside a podcast interview, it's almost like it's so intimate and so like dialed in, and you're in your own space and you're just kind of listening and absorbing. And the transfer of audience to guest, I never thought about that, but the transfer to audience to guest, like I'm inviting you to speak at my place, here's my people. Like that is like, when you think about it like that, it makes so much sense why it's such an amazing client attraction strategy. That's huge.
I love that. And the other thing, which I know you and I have talked about before because we're friends, is like when you're listening to a podcast, you are doing something where you're either bored or in a flow state, and you're looking to learn and be entertained at the same time. And that's really different than the way that people engage on social media, right? So people engage, to because they're distracted or they're overwhelmed or numbing out, or maybe they're there with intention, but it can't last long by the nature of what it does to our brains, right? And when you're listening to a podcast, you're driving, you're walking, you're cooking, you're cleaning, and working out. And like, those are things that are routine for you that you're looking to like enrich your mind while you're doing something else with your body in a way. And again, there's just a depth to that and a focus and a presence to that I've never found anything else like it.
Wow. Yeah. It's a great space to be in. It's an amazing space to be in because, like you said, it's intimate. It's like very narrow. And I like what you said when you said, you're doing the things that you're really doing. And it's not background noise. It's not like you're listening to music. You're actually listening to someone speak. So you're absorbing while you're doing something. And they say something about like kinesthetic things while you're doing some sort of, like when you're cooking and you're remembering that smell. And then all of a sudden somebody says something and you're like, boom, that smell is attracted to that thought. And I'm going to apply that thought. So it's like, or I'm working out or I'm doing something, like they're connecting in two ways to get your body and your mind to understand and learn, which is what no other platform offers besides the podcast. Wow. I got 3 other questions for you, and they're awesome. So let's just so a person comes on and they're like, you know what, I want to be a guest. I want to be a value guest. And one thing that I want you guys to think about is this platform, this way that we're doing this, being a good guest, doesn't always have to be like on a podcast. It could be on an interview in a Facebook group. It can be in an interview on your Facebook profile, in a YouTube, whatever it is. It can be. So how in your training you talk about this, but you can kind of skim over like real high on this one. How can you be a value-driven podcast guest?
I think the biggest thing is the intention behind it, right? Because all the strategy in the world doesn't make any sense if it's not like how you would do it as a person, right? So it's the intention is recognizing that, yes, this is an amazing opportunity for you. It's also a big deal and an honor to be invited onto a show of any size, because of that trust that the host has worked to build, because of the expense in sweat equity and or dollars that they're going to put in to edit the show, to upload the show, to host the show, to promote the show, none of which you have to do. Although, heads up, if you're on a podcast, you should share it with your audience, right? That's part of this, being a good guest, value-driven guest. And it is, unfortunately, the way that most people show up, even if they're unaware of it, is they're like, oh, look at me. I just want to, John Lee Dumas calls it like being a vampire. I just want to suck what I can out of the audience and the host, and I'm just going to be on my merry way. Thank you so much. You were so lucky to meet me. Right. And like, that's just icky and gross. Right. I have a podcast too. I get those pitches all the time. Do I ever say yes to one of them? No. Why? Because there's nothing in it for me. Somebody's trying to check a box if they went on my podcast. Like, I don't care. Why would I care? Right. So it's knowing that like it's there, you're there to create a win-win, right? You're there to truly create a win-win. You're there to make the host look as good as possible, because again, that's what the audience, that's what the listeners care about. You're going to go and be gone. Right. And well, unless you're a great guest, maybe you'll be invited back, but otherwise you're done. Still going to come back and listen to, I'm gone after this, right? People still going to be coming to listen to Eric because he's awesome and you love him, right? So how many kids do you have, Eric?
7.
7. Because he has 7 kids and he's still here and he still has hair. Like, hello, what's your secret? So it's like, it's just kind of knowing you gotta reflect that value and that gratitude, and that infuses everything that you do. From before you ever create the pitch to getting on the show to what you do afterward. And when you show up like that, then the rest of it kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah, that's such a different, it's just such a different frame that a lot of people come, like I love the vampire thing, like people, you're coming in a spot of gratitude, in a spot of help, in a spot of like giving and providing, not just like taking. Like I I'm just going to dream 100 this person, and then I'm going to grab the
Yeah.
audience, and I'm going to take 16 people, and I'm going to convert 100, and they're going to get this listens. That's and that's shallow, and that's probably why some people don't get invited again. And you can see a lot of that in the emails and the stuff like that that you get from people.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm actually going to hook you up because I like to be that kind of host. So number one, and guys, I will put all of this inside the show notes, so the links will be inside the show notes. I just want to know where can people find you? What's the best place for people to find you? And number two, what are you currently working on?
Ooh, thank you. So the best place is I have this checklist. It's pretty extensive. It's free. And it's the podcast guesting checklist, just to get like really meta. I'm a guest on a podcast with a podcast guesting checklist. And you can grab that and you can have it in front of you when you're creating pitches and when you're appearing on shows and you're like, how do I do this again? What did that person say? So it's at lifewithpassion.com/checklist. And yeah, that will also get you into my world. What I'm working on right now is, really delivering to our students and our clients and making things better and better. It's been really popular. We're raising our prices and we're building out systems and all these things. And I'm like, well, this is like a business. This is like legit, hiring team and lots of things like that so that I can be freed up to help and be, teach and do the things and connect and do the things that I love so that we can change the way this is done.
It's like we always say, Fabian, David, and I, it's like, stay in your zone of genius. Like all of the back end stuff, it's like, yeah, that's fun if you like doing it, but really stay in your zone of genius because that's where you're going to help the most amount of people. Yeah. And that's one of those things. I have two questions, and they're really, so these are actually two of my favorite questions. And I read the book by Tony Robbins, Master the Money Game. And he interviewed 12 of the top investors. And I'm like, you know what? That question makes a lot of sense. So I hope you're ready for this one. So if you couldn't pass on money to your family, friends, kids, only a set of principles or a concept for life or business, what would that be?
That is a great freaking question. So thank you, number one. I think the power of, just like you said, the power of presence, the power of play, the power of identifying and playing in your zone of genius. And the reason that I share all of those things is because those are edges for me. I want to do all the things. I have to schedule in play because it doesn't come naturally to me, and in presence, I'm always thinking about the next thing, right? Where's my to-do list? Right. And so, but that's where memories are made. That's where life is actually happening forever and ever. It's always in the present. Right. And we're just really conditioned against all of those things as being valuable. So I think, saying yeah, you're going to get a lot of messages that disagree with this. And these are the things that I would love to give you, because if you have those, you have I believe, the ability to create a fulfilling life.
Yes. My dad shared with me a long time ago. He said, son, there's one thing that I would recommend for you is always be present in the presence. And he was always at all my hockey games. He was always at all my practices. So I did the same thing for my boys. I was always at the games. I remember one time we had to put, this was before crazy Google Calendar. We had to put all of everybody's stuff on, because they were all in stuff. I mean, we would drive from one side of town to the other side of town, to the other side of town, to the other side of town to pick everybody up. And it was crazy. And being present in the presence is just something that I've learned. And I love the way that that's something that you pass down to your family and your friends and all of your offsprings. Here is the last question. And I've asked this question before. So guys, if you guys have been on the podcast, you guys know this question's coming, and it usually is a showstopper. So, so you're at the largest podcast in your niche. You're the largest possible thing. Like there's 200,000 people inside this event. And I'm going to kind of vision cast this for you. So you're the Sunday speaker. And most people know what the Sunday speaker is. That's where Tony Robbins comes on. That's where, the big person comes in. Like at the event, so inside this event, there's a banner on the top, and it's whatever event it is, top podcasting, top whatever. And you're literally the main, like you're the front person on there. Sunday afternoon, you just get done. There's 200,000 people there. You just get done with your delivery, your speech, your talk, whatever you want to call it, your presentation. 200,000 people are standing up. They're getting out of their chair. They're turning around. They're all going to the exit sign. They all look up and they see your face as the highlighted person that's speaking. What's the one phrase or concept, mic drop phrase that you want everyone to remember, all 200,000 people, your speech from Christine McAlister?
Ooh, thank you for placing me in that room, because that is where I'm going. I really believe that, like everybody, I've been through some really hard stuff in my life. I have some big T trauma, right? We all do. I really believe that it all comes down to this, and this is what I would have it say. You always have a choice. That's it.
That's huge. You always have a choice, because it's one of those things that people can absorb, they can learn, they can take it both ways.
Yep. And
that's their choice. That was huge. I hope that provided value to all of you guys. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I'm super excited. I hope I did well. Like I said, you're one of the people that guys, we're going to get on another call later on, just so you know, and I'm going to ask her to critique me, because the people that you get, the people that show you and help you and absorb what you're doing and are the biggest cheerleaders for you are the people that are going to help you. I know a lot of people out there, we focus on our haters, but we look past all of the people that are standing on the side of your journey, clapping for you. So that being said, guys, be grateful, have gratitude. Remember to listen to the full outro and catch the show notes, because there's amazing tools that we have in the show notes for you from Christine. And I will catch you guys on the next episode of Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you so much for your listenership and your continued support of Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. This is Eric Sablon. And as a bonus to you, I wanted to give you guys a free strategy session with me. All you have to do is go to www.burntphonemarketing.com/book a call, and we will set up a strategy session to help you get unstuck. So that's www.burntphonemarketing.com/book a call.